purpose of this tape is to discuss um, the standard counterattack system in place at the University of Pittsburgh regarding my having been clearly tortured. Today in next door Tacoma, there was quite a debate going on regarding the report that a Seattle police officer, apparently, according to the report, struck and killed a 26-year-old graduate student and was taped laughing that she was of low value. Why not just issue a check for $11,000? Supposedly, this really happened. Toon, by whom I mean Trumpy Toon, former president of the USA, is reported to have said after the 9/11 slaughter of great infamy and trauma to our great nation and to the world. Pardon Russia, Africa, but they expressed their grief for us too. Toon reportedly said he now has the biggest one in New York. As a child, we were often warned not to call such people fat liars. Everybody knows that Ian McDonald has the biggest one in New York. When I got back from Mount Desert Island, this is the problem with the Bar Association, our country, and the Royal Columbus family from Peter Gabriel's Real Worlds, who evidently are the new discoverers of America with Yoko Ono. It's that you invest in them a certain reserve of trust because they're the ones who play the best music and have the most money and have appealed to the sweetness of our dreams and our intellectual interests. And Peter Gabriel bombasted everybody with this idea that he was a spokesperson, never mind the slithering tongues, of what he called Amnesty International. Woo! That means non-violent, man. Meanwhile, he was honorary the non-violencing people like Shannon Harps with Ripper murder over a penny line claimed by Paul McCartney, but none of that is important. We know that now, but back then he was the Swami Nostra. On Mount Desert Island, I knew he was full of it because he sent me this card that said, Experience Park. Let me turn on the spinner beanie up there. Woo! I talked to artists and technologists and Clint Eastwood and other people like Martin Sheen with the Burn Jimmy Queerball. With the Experience Park in mind. They burned down a $10 million laboratory. It's a theme park for Pentagon Disney. Jeepers! How much that painting gonna be worth? Says Tony Norman at the Licky Chops porno of Hop Kendricks and Sound Mental Health. Yeah, they get it for cash. I knew he was full of it because Zal had been talking about his scheme to transform the human race by injecting the blood back in the art school before AIDS was known. So I knew that this was, I didn't at the time think that Pino was in on that craven of a genocide, that he was actually working with Wattenmaker and Gail Burston was still lost on me. And you get back to Pittsburgh, and they're setting up Pathone successive degradations of the X mode. This is Pope Carl. These are the people who slaughterhouse us. Zelensky says march. Putin says march, and Kirill says thou shalt be cleansed, and they exterminate each other. Thou shalt be cleansed. The persona is subjected Pope Carl, not Carl, Carl. So the persona is subjected to successive degradations of the X-mode and subsumed into a larger structure dominated by Zelensky and Putin, etc., etc. Well, the persona was being subjected to successive degradation of the X-mode, but Penis Gabriel was sending him postcards. So I thought maybe something rational was developing in this undercover industrial espionage. And I allowed Lisa Mile to seduce me and give me the totem from Moon Unit and Matt Marcus and the other people who burn people from fireplaces, gangrenous from the fireplaces, and say, don't say like blonde people. No. And she says, love will tear us apart. That's her Joy Division special favorite. You know, she gets big and goes out with Geiger, and Geiger says, I'm backstabbing them because, never mind. It's just, you know, it comes over like artists schmoozing with each other and passing each other around. So this was her production, drama production, experience park. They're just messing with you. It's fucking with you. And this is what all that trust and faith in Penis Gabriel amounts to. And her initials were LAM, Lennon and McCartney. She was a Sicilian violinist from Youngstown. And Maduro Gota comes out swinging for Trumpy tune in the UN. Get it? Both of them. New York, in other words. And Ono. Oh, I'm glad I'm not an Oscar Mayer wiener. You know that crowd? She comes out to 911 us with her I Siciliani Vespers performance at Hens Hall. I Siciliani Vespers. And the Sicilian violinist, you see. So it's all networked through the connected dots. Woo-hoo! And I repeat, they were lying about Mount Desert Island. Sal said what he said when he said it, so that was clearly a setup. And then we learned that it's all networked into genocide porno called Two Virgins Pussy Ball, based on Lenin's satiricon of how he won the war. You know, the films he was in. Make a list of the films he was in, and you'll get the message about double fantasy. It's a fantasy that you will get the second virgin because she belongs to the black man. Biden has made sure that the ark is the perfected union, more perfect union, a pussy ball valor in moral codes endorsed by Erdo, the Third World War victory, third place victory at Beijing, Putinese, Trumpy turned Putinese, businessmen, all of whom belong in an insane asylum, but they're running the show. Okay. So, for whatever god awful reason, Shirella was duped into taking on McDonald as their attorney, even though he ran for the prosecuting attorney's office, even though he's all mixed up in the casino alchemy, they call it, and the logic of Pittsburgh, which is, you know, if you take for $10,000, you hit the bitch. And she dies. She's past her prime, man. And the other victims in this car bomb, which is obviously what it was. I mean, all of them knew she was doing drugs. They were complicit in the accident, but I don't think that they gave her the personality change chemical. That was coming down from, yes, you know who, Father Mackenzie at the University of Pittsburgh. And the chain gang operation that Rusted Root and Space Ape have going in that little network of East Palestine area, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. You know, you should talk to the agenda. You should talk to these bands and find out who she knew. And you'll find the dots that connect to the drug industry back where Wattenmaker was making poisons for personality change. I could barely describe the hideous neurochemical that they used on me to induce a Holocaust survivor, Shaveti, they used it to induce. a Holocaust survivor, extreme situation, and a 13. She was 17 years old. I could barely describe it. I had no control. My soul conscience was retching out from inside of me, and it's carefully measured so that the individual thinks their mind helped them survive. It's carefully measured just shy of fatality. So, of course, this girl had as a child, she thinks she's Supergirl, and she talks about this, and it's clear what they did. All you have to do is compare the circumstances. And the news media was involved in what was done to me. It's all over the records of the Pittsburgh Post Gazette. They said my name over and over and over and over again with the lies of Penis Gabriel while Ono was making these movies and playing these war games. And James Childs came in. He's a game theorist from Bowling Green State University. Child is his name. Child and Mackenzie teamed up to persecute me because Paul McCartney says, huh. The Beatles didn't do anything to inspire the drug trade. And we're not going to take any responsibility or defend any of the victims. So, they expected me to be the same way. They fully expected I would wash my hands of Mackenzie. The hell with that. It's the same game. The media in Strongsville played the same game. The stuff about mixing formulas, and they're doing this shit at Tacit and giving me Love's Hypnotist. Love will tear us apart. The theme, they're doing it every day when they do. They come. Megan comes out and does like this. Boy, boy, boy. Her brother gets hit by a car and he's disabled. They have a girl named Max show up at the clubhouse. This is the Jericho Project wearing with Trumpy. They have squeezed what they consider overcrowding because they squeezed our money for fossil fuel for arms race, and they think, well, you need us, you need our strongmen, Strongsville, to do your work for you. We need to get rid of the overcrowd. And they calling themselves Flame Over Africa in the 70s when they tortured me. So the bottom line is the Mackenzie Shirilla was conked out in a hybrid war, and she was used as a neurotraumatic guinea pig by the Wattenmaker prison authorities. They came from Attica State Prison for Yoko Ono and attacked me. So Pitt could watch the sparks fly because they're into stupid stuff like that. Just like that cop says, well, she's past the prime. She's not that pretty. Yeah, sure, an $11,000 check. We kill it. Oh, it was a mistake. Oh, that's okay. Say goodbye. And Donald Trump has the biggest one. That Ian McDonald is a liar. You can ask my tulip. Ian McDonald is telling the truth. He's a liar. Donald Trump is the biggest one in New York. You can ask my tulip. Because Jericho's going to poison you in the mouth.